Welcome to the Data Decision. In today's video, we're going to be looking at how to create this particular dashboard right on your screen using Microsoft Power BI. It's something very simple, and I'm going to show you every single thing I have done right here to have this particular dashboard put together. If you want to create with me, the very first thing you have to do is to make sure you download the resources files and actually unzip it. So once you have done that, let us look at the dashboard requirements we're going to follow to have this dashboard created. So from the zip file, after you unzipped it, you are going to see this particular PDF. Just go ahead and read through this particular dashboard requirements or tasks that we're going to actually follow to have our dashboard created. And after that, make sure you read through the data dictionary for you to understand every single columns inside the data set before you actually get started with me. So if you're ready, let's get into the class. Let's go grab the data we are going to use. You can click over this particular import data from Excel. So navigate to the folder where you have this particular data and download it. Navigate to the file where you have your data saved in. Here is it. Just go ahead and click on open. So choose the one that says table. Or you can they are actually the same thing. You can either use this one or use this one. Either of them would be good to go. So let's go with this one. Let me show you how to clean this data. So first of all, check here and transform data. All right, we have this particular data right here. The very first thing you need to do is for you to go over to this view and turn on your column quality. If you look at it, we have here in this particular column that is highlighted, it says just 1% valid, less than 1% valid rather, so 99% invalid. So what do? You have to truncate this. If I actually click on drop down, we'll have this particular user ID to be valid in it. So I'm going to actually go ahead and right click, remove this column. Okay, that has been taken care of. If you look at it right now, we do not have header for this particular data. So our header is actually on row 4. So we want to actually promote it to be our header. So what do we do for the first time? We have to actually get these particular nulls away. How do we do that? You can actually go to home, and from home, you click on remove rows right here and remove top rows. You have to count how many rows you want to remove. 1, 2, 3. So we are going to put 3 inside this particular place here. Then hit your enter key. Now the 3 rows has been removed for you. So the next thing now is to promote this as header. So you can click over here. Click on this one that says use first row as header. And that place to identify that is actually clicking on this particular one. It's the same thing. So let's click on this one. Now we have our headers promoted for us automatically. As you can see, the data is now okay, so 100% everywhere. Let's scroll to this end. As you can see, we have some of those columns that has some kind of blank. So what do? We can remove them. This one, 100% empty, down to here. Hold your shift key, click on this one. Delete key on your keyboard will remove it for you. Now cross-check and see if the data types you have right here is actually correct. That should be good to go. So the next thing is for we to look at how unique this particular columns that is actually text-based is, right? To do that right now, let's click back over here. This time around, instead of this particular column quality, we're going to use this particular column profile here. So with our column profile, you can see we have mobile, we have desktop, tablet, and we have desktops. Can you see what I'm talking about? So you have figured out that there is an error here. So how do we fix this? So we want to actually add this particular desktop to desktop because there is nothing like desktops, right? So let's do it. To do it now, what we're going to do is to actually right click over here and replace value. Replace values here. So make sure you get the correct spellings. So we want to replace, it's case sensitive. So do desktops and replace that with desktop. Something like this. click on OK. So now let us go out and step back in again. This time around is correct. So let's go to this particular part right here and find out if there is any issue like that. So now, nothing like that here. Let's click over here. So if you look at this now, it says United States, and here it says United States, USA. So which one do you want to use? So let us go with none of them. Let's make a change. Right now, right click and go to replace value again. So I'm going to type in United States and replace that with what? With just USA. So click on OK. So if we step back in now, you can see here, you have USA here. Then this USA should be removed. So what I'm going to do now is just to right click again and replace values. Then you do USA space under USA again. So replace that with the USA right here. And once we click on OK, that issue should be solved for us. Now we have it. So for United Kingdom, we want to replace it with just replace values here again. So United Kingdom with just UK. So now this will make a lot of sense than what we have before, very short. So let us check this right here. Make sure you cross-check and see if there is repetition, maybe due to space, comma, or a new letter introduced to like paid search. You can have paid search. So you remove the S and you have just paid search right here. So I believe everything here should be 100% okay, right? So the next thing now is look at this one right here. We have month. There is no need for we to have month. What do? We can have this removed automatically. Let's go ahead and remove it. So we can get our month from our date column right here, right? So if this is okay, this column says 1 is actually conversion and 0 means there is no conversion. So how do we go about this? So what do we do about this number is not useful for anything, right? So we have to convert this number into a descriptive value. So let's do it. Click over add column and conditional column. So over here, I am going to actually say, what is the column's name? It's conversion. So it's going to be conversion status. So make sure you select this one, and where it is equals to 0 here, that means it's not converted. So here will be, so which means if it is equals to 1, that means there's a conversion. So let's go ahead and click on OK. Now you have this column here that corresponds to converted, which is 1 converted and 0 not converted. So there is no need for me to keep this again because we are not going to use it. I can remove it using my delete key on my keyboard. Then over here, we make sure this one is actually text, right? Okay, I think we are done with our transformation or cleaning. So now our data is ready to actually go into Power BI. The next thing you do is to go to Home and click over here under Close and Apply. As you can see, we have our table here. If I open it up right now, those are the columns we have inside it. Let's go over here. Now, as you can see, we have the columns showing up right here. So we need to add 2 tables, one to hold our measures, and the other one is actually a simple date table. So let's go over here, click on Home. From Home, click on Table Tools rather. From Table Tools, let's go over to New Table. So this is going to be something very simple. So let's see here, I have this particular code, which is very simple. You can copy it if you don't know how to create a date table. So this particular part here is your date, your month number. Can you see it right now? This is your month number, and this is the week number right here. MN for month number, WN for week number. So if I hit my enter right now, this will definitely create something like this for us. Can you see? We have this very 5 columns here. So make sure you click on this particular month and go over to sort, then sort by MN for month number. Then you do the same thing to the weekday here, then sort by the WN for week number. And lastly, let's go over to table tools right here and click on mark as date table. Then just make sure this one is turned on and select date. Let's go over to save. Then once that is done, it's optional. You can actually format this one to get the kind of date format you really want. I go with this one. All right, we are ready to go. We have gotten what we want. So we just have one single thing left. That is for we to create where we want to save or store our measures right in. So let me just help you to do that. So over here, I'm going to go ahead and create a new table. Can you see? New table right here. So with this particular new table, I'm going to call it DAX table. So with my equal sign here, I'm going to do this square bracket, double quotes inside it, and that square bracket, hit the enter key. That will create a blank table for you that you can store your measures right in. So if I open it up right now, we only have just a value, and this value has nothing in it, it's just blank. So here we go. What is next? So it's time for we to follow what we have to get this created. So for the first time, we want to actually create the total views. When we go over here, we click on this particular part. So this is the page view, and the target we have is to actually make sure we go beyond or above the previous month. That is our target. So the previous month is our target. The current month is seeing if we have met up the target. So how do we create that? Like the KPI you have seen in the introductory part, to have something like that with conditional formatting. So let's do it. Now we are here, we need a measure. And our measure should be created inside here. So let us right click and create a new measure. A very simple measure for that matter. So this measure name should be called total page view. Right? So it's going to be equals the sum of the page view. Can you see? Page views. And if I hit my enter key, this should give me an aggregation of all the views we have over the months. So right here, I'm going to push this into a card. So it will give us something like this. So now I want to use a new card. Let's go over here. Go down a little bit until you can find the new card. Here we go. We have this new card here. So this is what we want to use for this first time. So once we have this card here, how can we make sure it's not showing us in 8 million? Let's go over to call out value. We scroll down a little bit until we can find value or label. Not the label. So let's go with this one. And here we have the value. Open it up and scroll down a little bit. Then from here, we choose none. So we have this. So we need to actually put the comma separator. Let's click back on our measure. And over here, we do this. Okay, there we have it. So we need to actually calculate for our previous month. We want to get what is the previous month's view, which is our target. To do that right now, let me first of all bring here a month column. So here is my month column here. So for the time being, I'm going to convert this into this. So let's quickly go ahead and, okay, I think value here. So we can see it better, right? So this will help us to create what we want. Let's go over back to this particular part, right click and create a new measure. So with our new measure here, I'm going to just type in PM for previous month, page view, okay, or still you can just say target, or let's just use previous month page view target. So you can explain what this is all about with just 2 dashes. It will actually help you to add a comment. So PM inside bracket. Okay, let's say PM. So open bracket. Right. This explains what this is all about. Specifically, if the owner of the report is going to actually go through the back end to see what you have done to get your visuals, put together. So this particular PM previous month will not actually affect your report whatsoever. So now we're going to actually use calculate function. So we need to actually put an equal sign here first. So with the calculate function here, we want to change the filter context. Instead of us to see this huge number, we want to see a different number based on what we select from the filter. How do we do that? So we already have a measure called total page views. So I bring this in with my comma. Now pay attention to what is here. Let me get this out for the first time. So if I put this, my open bracket, it says expression. Always remember that expression is actually number, measure, values. It's not something that has to do with text. So for that, what is our expression? Our expression is actually total page view. So it contains number, which is this particular number. The next thing now is the filter. The filter would be what do you want to use to change the filter context, right? That will be trying to get the total page view for previous month, which is going to be our target. So to get that done now, we have our previous month function right here. And we have another function that could do the same thing for us, which is called date add. So this previous month will only go back 1 month, while date add can actually be configured into 2-3 months, depends on how many months you want to offset, right? Let's do the date add and let me show you what it is. So the date add is here. What the date add is looking for is actually a date. So I'm going to type in date here. So from our date table, we have this very one. This is our date. I'm going to put up a comma right here. And next is asking me for the intervals. So for the intervals, it can decide to go back 1 month, can decide to go back 2 months, even down to 11 months. It depends on what I really want to see, right? The huge difference between this date add and the previous month is that the previous month at default offset 1 month or go back 1 month. This one is capable of being configured. So we just want to go back 1 month. So if I put my comma, it will ask me, do I want to go back in days, months, quarters, or even years? So it's just in month. Let's go with this one. And with this, we can close for our date add and we close for the calculate function. Now we have done the whole justification to this particular previous month page view target. So let's see what we have. So, all right, we can bring this one into a different card for now to see the value we have. So if you look at it, let's go ahead and go to value here and choose none. So now we have the same exact value. There is no changes between them. And that was because we did not select any filter from here. By the time I go to February right now, let's see what we have. So now nothing happens. Can somebody guess what the problem is right now? The problem here is that there is no relationship between our date table and the website analytics dataset, right? Let's find out. So going over here, you can see there is no single relationships. So what do? We can actually go ahead and push this particular date and have it on top of this particular date right here. And that will create what I call one-to-many relationship for us. So we can click on save. So now if we go back, so there is changes here right now. So this is the previous month value, which is our target, right? Our target. Now this one is the current month. So which means this one is for what? This one is actually for February, while this one is the March based on what we selected from here. Do you get it right now? this is what it is. So now that we have gotten this, what is next? So we need to actually get the variance between the current month and the previous month, which is actually our target, to see how far we have gone up or down. So let me go ahead and duplicate this particular one and keep this one over here. Then for the time being, I'm going to remove this and right click, then create a new measure. So with this particular new measure right here, what we need to do is to make sure we actually type in here target difference. So I'm going to just make it short like this, and we bring in the total page views. We subtract it from the previous month page view target. So this will give us what is the difference between our target and the total current month page view. So let's also go ahead and push this one here and make sure this one is formatted as well. So here we go. So we can keep on interacting with this to see what the difference is. Now, as you can see, the previous month, or our target, let me use the word target. Our target is actually above our current month. We made much more views in the month of March compared to the month of April, which is our current selection. So for that is down by 10,628. Can you see that right now? So how can we find the percentage of this particular 10,628 right here? Is very simple. So let us go ahead and actually paste a different one here, bring it right here and take this off, and let us create a different measure for that. So let us do PCT, right? That is my percentage of variance. So, of target rather. Target. All right, to keep it simple, let us use a divide function. With our divide function right here, what we're going to do is to make sure we do the target difference, which is this measure here. This target difference here, we actually have to divide it by the total target. So we can go ahead and close, hit the enter key, and make sure you convert to a percentage. So I have a blank card here. I'm going to push this into the card. This gives me this 2.5, approximately 2.5% down. So you can check a different month to see how now this is growth. You know, see growth, you are down by 1.5. Can you see what this is all about? This is how it is. But unfortunately, this is not what we want right here. We need to make sure this has an arrow down and arrow up. And as well, we want to have conditional formatting right on it. This would help us to tell the story we want to tell, and it's simple. Let's do it. So over here, we're going to update what we have in here, right? So for the time being, I'm going to actually Control X to save this to my clipboard. We're going to use it later. We already have it. All right, let us quickly get something done. For the first time, we want to create the arrow with a variable. So using a variable here, so I'm going to do underscore. Let me just say up arrow here. So using this particular function, I think I'm going to do 1291 129137. So I'm not sure. I think this should give us that. And we do under variable again. So underscore, this is down arrow. So here is going to be, I just love to put space on it so that to be very clean. So here is under code. This one we do 129139. Okay, 129139. So this should do it for us. So we have gotten this. The next thing we have to do is to actually create a different variable again. And this time around, this variable will store in our target. So which is going to be called target. So it's just a measure we already have, right? So this measure should be our target here, which is this very one. I believe you have it already. So now we actually need to store the target variance. So this is going to be target difference over here. Target difference now would be equals, and we store it in, which is this very one. And finally, it is time for we to actually create our target percentage. So which is going to be under variance again. This is going to be target PCT for percentage. So do you remember this now? We bought this and I told you I was going to use it later. So I just did use this right here, right now. So this is what we have. The next thing, we have to return all of this. But when returning this, we are going to do something different. Let's do it. So here I'm going to do return. So under return, we want to use the if function to get things done right here. So the if function is going to actually go ahead and say underscore target amount. Target amount here. Gonna do something. Let's see. We should get. We're gonna do target difference. So here we're gonna do underscore target difference right here. So if our target difference is actually less than 0, then what do we want? So we want our target percentage to be formatted now and concatenate that with an arrow. So I'm going to do here down to quickly have a good formatting underscore target PCT right here. So we need to format this and have some kind of an arrow with it. So what I'm going to do right now is to actually click over here, the ampersand here, a space under one. So close this right now and bring our down arrow here. So arrow, down arrow, right? So put a comma on it. So the next one again now is to actually check underscore target difference. So if this one now is greater than 0, we want to concatenate it. We don't need to actually check if it is greater than 0 or whatsoever. So what we need to do is just for we to actually do this. So we do this again and underscore the up arrow here. So we should be able to have what we want, but do you know this is going to look weird? Don't worry, I'm going to show you how to fix it. So let us first of all look at the result that this is going to produce for us. So coming over here right now, we have this huge number here that doesn't make any sense. Although it's giving us up arrow, and this one, can you see it now? So we have huge number right here. So how can we actually control this huge number and make it look like a real percentage? So we just have to go back and let's go with this. All right. So over here now, we have this particular part that is actually dividing the target difference and the main target for us. So what we need to do is for we to format this. So I'm going to come over here and put format. So with my format here, how do I want to actually format this? So I'm going to come over here and put a comma right here. So with this particular comma here, I'm going to say, okay, just format this into a percentage for me. So just no decimal place, 0%. I just want to go ahead and have this closed. So if I hit my enter key, this should be able to give me what it is that I want. So let's find out. So this time around, if we navigate through it, we should have exactly what we want, but this is weird. So we need to fix something right here. Why are we having this huge number? Do we make any mistakes somewhere? Let's find out. So let us look at where our mistake is. This place here, we are not supposed to use this particular one to return it. That was why it's giving us a huge number and it's not actually in percentage format. So what do? Let's go back again and take a look at what we have. So right here is showing real number to us. And this is the number is returning back to us. So when we click here now, we have the right percentage. If I come to here, now we have this same one returned back here. Is a common error that anybody can actually make, even the big professionals. Let's go back. So the mistake we've made is getting this one concatenated with the up arrow. So let us go ahead and remove it. And instead, we want to return underscore here, underscore, and so we do underscore and we do this, right? So let us give them spaces. So it makes your code to look very clean. So if I hit my enter key right now, this should solve the problem already. So can you see it right now? Both the up and the down arrow, they are some kind of fixed for us, right? This is what we have. So the next thing is for we to actually make sure we some kind of create a card that shows what we have right here for us in one single card. There is no need for we to have individual cards like this because it doesn't make any damn sense. So how do we do that? So quickly, I'm going to actually clear off this one from here, just like this, right? They are gone. Now we need to focus on this one. Let me make it a bit bigger, just right here. So the next thing I'm going to do, I already have this number right here. So we need to actually go over to this particular reference label and let's bring it down a little bit. And now click over here to go over to here, or you can actually use this part to get it done. So what we need to get here is our target. So I can just drag this one into here. So we have gotten our target here, right? So we don't want our target to show in 691K. So we need to select the target here. Once it is selected, we want to change the target name. Click on this custom and customize how you want the name to come. It's just target, remove this one, and you have target, right? Let's go down a bit. Under the value here, we go ahead and change this particular one to none. Then we have this, right? So let's scroll down a little bit again. Now we have detail. When we turn on detail, what do we want to have? For now, there is nothing. So detail should actually be gone. So we need to actually add one more. That is target difference. So over here now, we have added this. So let us go and put this one over here. This gives us this. So we want to leave target difference the way the name is, but what we want to change right now is to click over here, click on this, and let's go over to title. Then we like it the way it is. Let's go to value right now. So for value here, we want to click on, let's see, scroll down and we select none as well. So that will change what we have right here for us. So the next thing right now, we need to bring the percentage we have right in here. So for that, that's where this particular detail comes in. So click on detail and turn it on, open up detail and bring a measure into here. And that measure is our percentage. So now we have the percentage with arrow going to the top. You get it right now? So we have to increase this. Let me put this at something like 16. 16 looks okay. Not bad. So let's do for the value for that. So I want to actually make it bolder than the rest. So if that is the case, let's do 14. And we can do this to every part of it. So for now, we are just having default color. We're going to change this to a conditional formatting that will show us good or bad based on whatever we select. So, all right, we have everything here. Specifically, this particular target difference, this is not clear. right? They are together. So we have to separate them. How do we separate them? We have to do the conditional formatting, and that will give us something that distinct these particular values and as well the percentage, which is the detail right here for us. So we need a fresh measure for this. So let's do it. Over here, right click and go to new measure. So we're going to do two conditional formattings. Like I love using CL for conditional formatting. So I proceed that with the name of the thing I want to format. So let us do for target first. So then we'll do for views. So when it is equals, we're going to use the if function to check if this particular, I think, total page view here is less than the previous month or the target. So the previous month page target view, right? So what we want to see when that happens, we want to see 0, or otherwise give us just 1. So let me make it well formatted. So I'm going to go down here. So put 0, put under 0, then 1, and go ahead and close. This looks okay, right? This is for just target. So we're going to do for views right now. So we add a new measure for views. So CF for conditional formatting. So this one is actually for views. And over here, we're going to ask if the previous month or target is some kind of greater than this particular target view, page views here. Then what we want, 0, otherwise give us 1. Then we go ahead and close. So, the if is not here. Now we bring the if in. So this is what we have, the two measures we need to create to have this particular conditional formatting done, right? So now we have all of them. So which means we're going to format this one and this one. And how do we format this very one? Let us start our formatting from this huge number, which is the current one first, and check if the current one is above this one. So how do we do that? So now let's go over to here and select this particular one here. Make sure it's been selected. Call out values. Now we go down a little bit. So we make sure we put it at all. So let's go over to here and we can change the color to this. It changed, but we don't want this because if we select something from here right now, the color still remains the same thing. So for that, we want to make sure we have a dynamic color. So what you need to do is for you to click on FX here to change it to go to rules. And when we are here, add another new rule. And over here, we're going to check equals. And this one as well is going to be equals. So if it is equal to 0, then we do this one to be equals to 1. So when it's equals to 0, we want to use this as the negative number of formatting. Then for the positive number formatting here, we're going to use a green from this particular part. So we should choose the kind of green we want. So just pick any green of your choice. So we want something like this. Then for we to continue using this kind of green over and over again for every formatting, we can copy the hex code from here. Now we have this. We can go ahead and click on OK. Check it out. Now, what happens here? Didn't work. Okay, let's try again. Maybe we made a mistake. So we go ahead and click on this. Call out again. The FX here. Oh no, we should have selected the CF, right? So CF now is page view. Then this one's they're okay. So we should have it now. Here we go. Can you see it now? Dynamically, it changes on its own. So we have done for this. Let us go ahead and see how we can format our target right here. For the target, we have to go over to reference label, scroll down, and over here we want to go for this particular select label, and we select the target itself right here. Right, once we have done that, we scroll down until we see values, and we click on this FX here. Then we have to make sure this one is on the rules. Then we can change this one to CF. Then we choose the target one. So we add new one. So we check when this is equals. We check this one equals as well. Then we put, let's put 1, and we put 0 over here. Then for where we have 0, we want to choose the same one. Then over here, we can paste in the hex code we did copy at that time. So let's go with this. So now here we go. This one is down, this one is up. Let's see how this will switch. Can you see it right now? So what about the value we have right here? How do we actually get this value formatted before we even talk about this very one right here? It's simple. So let's find out. So to get target difference formatted, what we need to do is to make sure we select again, and we are under here. So we scroll, and here we click on this one. So let us quickly go down to the value area, and now we select this one here. And this time around, we don't have any measure in place to get this done. So all we have to do is to select the rows, and over here we select targets. I think it's going to be target difference right here. So when we select this, we are going to add 3 different ones like this. So leave this one to when it is actually greater than or equal to mean. And this over here should be equals, while this one should be something that is less than, which is this one. So over here, we're going to put 0 on it. So we're going to put 0 over here. That's cool. So we want to make sure this one is actually when it is greater than or equals. Right, then we have to put off this. Just go ahead and use your space bar to move this and to turn this one into max for you. So once that is done, choose what you want to have on this. Let's go with the red color, and over here let's go with something like this, and right here I want to go with the green color we copied, and we paste it over here. We can go ahead and click on OK. So can you see now? It's down. Let's try to see if this is going to give us something different. Can you see it right now? So whenever this one is green, this one will be green because the current month we selected is higher than the target that we're actually looking forward to. Okay, it is time for what to do for the percentage, which is something very simple. So let's go over again, and we select the percentage now. So which is going to be, I think, yeah, select under this particular target diff right here. Make sure you're under it. If we scroll down this time around, we're going to the detail. And for the detail, we need to change the color of the detail. This is where we are. Now we go ahead and choose this one. Then we do the same thing again. So we select this one. We just go ahead and add this. So we just want to do equals and greater than. Then over here we're going to put 0, just like what we have done before. It's something very simple. Then we want to make sure this one is this, and lastly we delete this 0 from here. We have max automatically. Then we can follow the same process. So we want to go with this color, so we come over here and choose something like this. Then finally we bring this in and we click on OK. So now we have this, but if you look at it, it's not making any sense because the target value and the percentage is mixed together. So what we need to do right now is to make sure we give that particular percentage a background that will make it stand out differently. So can we do that? Let's do it. So now, as you can see over here, we have this particular part where it says color. This color will be for the background. We can use this color to actually separate this from this. So let's go ahead and click on the FX we have right here. So we're going to follow the same exact thing we have done previously, but this time around it's going to be a diff different thing entirely, but not that different, something closer to what we have done. So we're going to put equals right here, and over here we do this going to be equal to then, and we do 0, and we do 0 over here, and this one delete. Okay, this time around we want to select a particular color like this, and now we have to make sure we come over to more colors, and we select something that is not that bright, right? That's red rather. Something like this particular part will be okay, right? So let's do the same thing to this one. Select it again and come over here. We can click over here and just bring it towards this side like this. So we have to deal with our green color. So paste it over here, and this time around we have to move the green color to a lighter version of it, a lighter, somehow dark. Can you see? So let's just try this and see what we have. So can you see it now? This is what we have, and it makes this to look a bit stand out than this main value right here. So what about this? I think I'm going to tell you firsthand that we are done doing this. All we have to do is to make sure this particular part right here is showing up so well. So let's do it. So colored value here, we scroll down. So we want to make sure we select this, and we go down a little bit to label. We can crank up the label to whatever we like. Let's go with this bolder font type, and for the time being let us put it at just 14. So this is gonna give us something like this. So can you see this now? This is all we have. So whenever we change something from here, this updates automatically, and it gives us something very insightful. So you can see the current month is July. So compared to the target, which is our June value, is up by 3%, and that is 18,637. So what do you think? Oh, sorry. If there is anything that is actually left right now, that is the image we are supposed to have right there, and it's something very simple. Let me show you. So click on this particular part and go over to where you have the images right in, and this time around we want to turn this one on and come over here to browse your PC. Right, let's go over here, and we have so many icons right here, but this has to do with animated, and this is just something like this. Okay, which one goes for what we are looking for? That is gonna be this. It looks very huge and it sends others packing. So what do? We just have to control how the size looks and the position as well. So we want to put this at the left hand corner. Beautiful, right? So let's go down a little bit, and this time around we should actually make sure we position it maybe down here or up here. So for this one now, we can just put it at the center for the first time, and now is the size. Let's just go with 30. Oh, that looks very small. So let's do something different. This time around, we're going to go with 50. 50 look quite okay, but still small. So you can test it out to see which one goes for you. I think this is going to be some kind of cool, but I believe when I choose 80, that pop out very well. So what if I actually put this at 100? What will it look like? This is cool. I mean, yes, this is okay. But the spacing between my image and the text or the values is too small. So you can actually increase the space by putting 10 over here. So I'm going to just put 10 over here, and that gives me a very good space. All right, you have this. This is all you need to do. The next thing now is that this particular image right here is too bright. I don't like it. So I just have to make sure this is not showing too dark color. So we want to take the transparency down, right? This is 0. Let us put it at 50. What you have to do is to make sure you drop it at 40. And that is a good thing that you can do, right? So this gives your, card more good looks. I don't know, maybe doesn't make any difference. but it does to me. So check it out. All right. If you look at this, we have this particular part that says session duration in seconds, right? It's just some bunch of numbers right here. So right now, when the session duration is actually low, which means people did not spend a lot of time on the website. So when it is high, then that means people navigate a lot on the website. So how can we actually make sense with this particular column? So we just want this as a KPI. So to get that done right now, we just need a new card. So let us bring this over here. So here comes the new card, just like this card over here. So I'm going to keep this card here. If you want to actually make your dashboard project look very clean and outstanding when it comes to the back end, you need to actually know how to actually create folder to store your measures inside it, right? So what we can do right now is to make sure those related measures should be stored inside a separate folder. Now, all those measures has to do with what we have here. So let's go to this particular model view, and over here you bring up the properties, and now here is our DAX table. So click on this one. Now hold your shift key to select it up to here, and everything selected excludes the value who does not have anything, right? You have this particular display folder here. Go ahead and type in the name. So let us type in page view and hit the enter key. This will create a folder for us where all the measures will be stored in. So now we have this as page view. So any new measure we want to create right now, we're going to create it outside the page view. So right click here and now new measure. With our new measure right here, what we need to do is to actually say we want to calculate the average sessions duration. Right? So with the equal sign here, what we need to do is to use the average function to get that done. So with the average function here, I'm going to do this. So here we go. So can you see it right now? This is what we have, right? But this is going to look some kind of weird. It's okay. It works 100%, but we can do something better than this. But before we do something else, let me push this into a card first. So can you see it right now? This is the number we have right here. If I keep going over here now, this is actually expressed in seconds. This is 52 seconds. Here we go. Can you see now? So this is 102 seconds. So this does not really make any sense. So we want to see how many minutes is this particular number. So let's check it out. So approximately is 1 minute and some few seconds. Can you see it right now? This is what we have here. 1 minute and 7 seconds. So how do we use DAX to actually get this? Right? I don't know. Let's do it. So I'm going to keep this over here, right? So I want to get a new one inside here. So this one should be here while I remove this one, make it blank for now. So we need a different measure to help us get that done. So new measure here. So this time around, let us call this one formatted sessions here. Okay, you can use anything you like. Okay, now what we need to do is to actually start by saying, you know what, we want to use a variable. So this variable here, what the variable is going to do for us is to actually help us to store in this particular measure that we calculated our average session time duration rather. So it's going to be total seconds, right? And that will be this measure right here. So once we have done that, we want to extract the minute part of it. So we do under variable here. So we just do seconds, oh sorry, minutes. So we can use the int here, and we're gonna say here underscore this, and we divide it by 60 seconds. Then we go ahead and close this. The next thing is for we to retrieve the seconds part of it, underscore seconds. So we use this function. I think it's gonna be mod function here. So we do underscore again. We bring in our total seconds here, and comma, the divisor should be by 60. That helps us to retrieve this. So once we are done with this, we can just say return. So under return right here, we want to actually say, okay, you know what? In a format, we want to format how we want it to look. So with the format right here, we just want to say the minute part. So comma, we want to format it into 0. That is going to be 0. We close, and we have this closed. And the next thing, we have to concatenate this with the second part. So we just need to do ampersand right here. So we want to actually have this two, stuff like this. Can you see it right now? We don't want to give a space, rather. Let's just put it here like this and do this. So we're going to use the format function again to actually get the second here, seconds, and comma. So this should be 0, 0, this, close, and we'll close our format here. Do we need to close the format? No, we don't need to. We can just go ahead and drop this one. Okay, this one is cool. This is cool. So we've gotten this done. I can just go ahead and move this here. Let us have this in a single line, or if we don't want to have it in a single line, let's just have it aligned properly like this. This will give us something like this. So right now, let us go ahead and check it out and see what it is that we actually have. So over here, I'm going to push this formatted one in here. So let us take a look at this. Can you see? This is what we have. This seconds is some kind of interpreted into minutes. So if I check this now, this particular seconds is interpreted into minutes, 0.54 seconds. So we have 53 here, and now this one is giving us 54, which means there's an approximation from 8 to 3, and that made it 4. So which one do you think we should use? So if I come over here right now, this one here is a bit misleading because it's giving us 102.64 seconds, and this one is giving us 1 minute and 43 seconds, which means on average, people actually stay on the website for 1 minute and 43 seconds. But when you say 102.64 seconds, oh, sorry, this is in minutes, then in seconds, this is going to look a bit weird, right? So what do? We have to look at which one will give us what we really want. So what I'm going to do right now is to actually choose to go with this one. And this time around, let's have the name changed to something different. Bracket, I'm going to type minutes. So this one looks perfectly okay right now. So we're going to go with this one. We already have its name changed, and this is already giving us what we should be, thinking of. All right. So this time around, there is no need for we to keep this again. We can get this away from here. And what we need to do right now is to make sure we bring in the image we want to actually use alongside with this. So let's quickly go ahead and grab the image. Coming over here. We are not done yet. So the question is this: can we put a conditional formatting on this? And the answer is no. And again, if you ask me why no, I'm going to tell you that this is not more values. This is a text. right? What made it a text? If I actually come over here right now, you can see this part here has actually formatted this particular, duration in minutes into text. So for that, if we want to do something to make sure this is formatted, we have to do something outside the box. Yes, we have to. So let's see what we can do to get that done. So I'm going to actually now, this time around, I'm going to just make sure this one's been dropped to this level. So we're going to keep this somewhere around here for the time being. And now we need to actually go ahead to insert, go to this particular shapes and insert a circle, just like this, right? So make sure it's a perfect circle for you. So just make it a bit smaller. So we can control how little or how small we want it to be later after all. But this one now is okay. Does it make sense? I don't know. Let's find out. Okay, the next thing we have to do is to make sure we create a measure for it. So this measure is going to help us to actually, we want up and down arrow as well. So I'm going to actually do CF, we type in the session. So put an equal sign here. And over here, I'm going to use the if function to say if average. So don't use the one that has the minutes, use the one that has just the session duration. So if this one is actually, let's do, I'm thinking. Okay. Now, this is going to be a little bit complicated because you wouldn't know how to condition it based on seconds. So for that, we want to automatically convert this into minutes. So I am going to convert this into minutes and show you what will happen. So without the if function right now, let's go ahead and divide this by 60 seconds, right? So with this now, it's going to give us, one funny value right here. So let's go ahead and just bring this into a card, right? So we have this into a card. This is what it gives us as minutes. So now we can use this to actually condition what we want. So if that happens, what do we want? So if now we're going to check if this is actually greater than or less than 2 minutes. So when we divide by 60, that means it's converting it into a minute for us. This is 1 minute and 37 seconds. So when it is greater than 2, we want to have up arrow. So we put a comma here, but we have to put our if in here. Okay. So with the comma here now, inside here, we do Windows key and the full stop here will bring those icons for you. So go ahead and click on this one and use this up and down arrow here. So now we have the up and down arrow. So what we want to use here is just the down arrow, and we close, comma again. Otherwise, just give us this. So go ahead and do this. So now we have this. What we should be seeing here, instead of this number, is the arrow. Okay, we have this arrow here. Quickly turn this off. The next thing we have to do right now is to set a condition for this particular arrow we have right here. How do we do that? It's something very simple. Let's do it again. Then over here, we need to create a different measure for that. So we don't need to do something much more complicated. We can copy this that we have right here and just recycle through this with new measure. So if I paste it in, I'm going to put off this one, no arrow inside it. And over here, instead of me to show this arrow down, I rather show 0. And over here, I show just 1. So hit my enter key. So now we're going to be using this one for both the arrow and the circle we brought in here. So what I'm going to do right now is to go over to my callout value here, select this, and let's go to rows. And once we're here, we do CF and we choose this very one here. So we add another one to it. So we're going to use the two to be equals. So over here we put 1, and here we can drop 0 in here. So for where it is equal to 1, we want to make sure we go with a green arrow, just like this, something greenish like this, right? So for where it is some kind of down, we want to use this color. So this green, I'm not saturated with it. Let's go ahead and change it to something like this. Okay, so this is what we need to have. Let's go ahead and click on OK. So now we have the red. So this one would affect it as well. Let's go ahead and keep clicking to see where it goes up. Let's go to November. So now can you see we have green here? Let us quickly use the same formatting for this one. So this time around, this one's going to be a bit different, something light. So that will actually bring this green up. So let's go over to shape style, and we choose to get the border off. For the fill, we choose this here, and we choose the same rows. And over here, we go to CF, and we choose this one. So add a new rule. Make sure you're using the equals. All right. So 1 and 0. So the next thing is for me to say, for where I have 1, I want to use this green color, but I'm going to use the lighter version of it. Can you see it now? Something lighter, just like this. So once I'm done, step off. For where we have 0, this color, but not really this one. So click over here and choose the lighter version of it. Can you see? All right. So let's go ahead and click on OK. So can you see this one right now? So what I'm going to do is just to make sure I bring this and come over here. I'm going to put this at 30. So it makes it a bit smaller. So just control it this way and bring this in here like this. So go over to this particular part and turn off the background we have on it. So this is how it goes, right? So you might want to take this off, bring this over here, and over this one, I'm going to hold my shift key just to make this one a bit smaller. So now bring this one into it. So make sure it's in the middle of it. So once you're saturated, just go ahead and highlight both of them. And the next thing, you right click and group. So this is what you need to have. So you can actually drag it and keep it anywhere you like. So this one will be somewhere around here. For now, let's just keep this over here. So can you see what we have here now? Okay, let us get this one here and Ctrl C to actually copy and Ctrl V to paste. Bring this one over here. So now we have to do for bounce rate. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So we have this one here. So if you look at this particular part, it's a percentage of bounce rate. That is bounce rate percentage, which means what is the percentage of, or like the time the person spend? Does the person just come to the website and bounce off immediately? So which means if the person just navigates into the website and bounce off immediately, it's going to be very high percentage. So when the percentage is low, which means the person stayed for quite a long time before the person navigate off the website. So we want to see how that played out. So let's find out. So it's very simple. This time around, we are finding the average as well. So let's go ahead and do right click. And so we might want to actually put this into a folder as well. So let's go over here. So click on this one, hold down, just close this one first, hold down the shift key and select all of those ones here. And over here, you're actually going to put this to be some kind of something like this, right? That helps you to keep your measures organized. Can you see it now? So we start up a new one from here. We click on new measure. So let us call this one average bounce rate. So equals. So we just use the average function. So that is all we need to do, right? So we have one more measure to actually write, and that measure would help us to condition this to see if it's low or high. So let us go ahead and add a new measure. So I always love to use CF for conditional formatting. So here we go. So with the if function here, so we can say if I think it's going to be bounce rate, average bounce rate here. So if it is less than or equal to 0.30, which is 30%. So anything 30% is actually good. Like anything less than or equal to 30% is good. So anything above that is high, which means the person bounced off immediately. The person landed on our website. So we might need to optimize and do some changes to make sure the website is good enough to keep people, clicking. So now you put a comma right here. And once that happens, we want to see 1. So 1. Otherwise, we want to see 0. That is what we can use to actually format it. So hit your enter key. So I believe this is well understood. So now we have not brought in the value yet in here. So let's go ahead and bring in the value. So over here, uncheck this one. Bring this one in. You can see what we have. Let's go ahead and format it. So call out value. So CF, and you choose the one that says bounce. So for here, well, let's go with this one. Let's check it out. Can you see it now? So you might want to use a filter to see which month has that particular. Can you see? Here is kind of, let's find out. So now what we need to do now is to turn this into a percentage for we to actually have it as percentage. This is 67%. So let's go over to this and convert this into a percentage. So when the percentage is high, which means the bounce rate is some kind of crazy. So the person bounced off immediately. So I'll spend fewer, seconds or minutes. Can you see? So when it is low, we set it at 30%. So this is actually still less than 30%. So once it is above 30%, we begin to see red. This is exactly what it is that we need to do. So over here, we need to make a change of the image we have in here. Let's quickly go over to the image area.